Ever watched a YouTube video just like skyrocket to the top of your search results and wondered, what's the magic there?
Right. Or you see a company blog that somehow just pulls in tons of relevant traffic consistently.
Exactly. Well, today we're unlocking some of the secrets behind these online visibility wins.
Mm-hmm.
You, our listener, you asked about the core differences in how companies tackle SEO.
Mm.
And we found this really fantastic framework in an article by Dan Martin.
Yeah, it's a good one. Really lays things out clearly.
So our mission in this deep dive is to dissect two pretty powerful SEO strategies,
Yeah.
product-led SEO and marketing-led SEO.
Get right into the nuts and bolts.
Yeah, so you can grasp the fundamental distinctions and see how they're shaping the online landscape you navigate every single day.
And hopefully by the end, you'll have a much clearer understanding of why certain websites just dominate search results.
And more importantly, how these strategies actually impact your own online experiences.
Okay, so diving in. It's fascinating because we often talk about SEO like it's just one thing, right? But there are really these two, well, distinct strategic philosophies at its heart. Dan Martin's article, it does a great job setting them up.
Okay.
First, he introduces product-led SEO, or PLS. You might also hear it called aggregator SEO, sometimes technical SEO, or programmatic SEO. Lots of names.
Okay, PLS. So what's the core idea?
The key here is that the website itself is the primary product. The main focus is on aggregating a huge amount of content in one spot.
Aggregating content. Got it.
Yeah, and creating an incredibly smooth, really engaging user experience. Think of it like bringing together, supply and demand onto one single online platform.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. So with product-led SEO, a great user experience isn't just a nice to have.
Oh, absolutely not.
It's totally foundational, right?
It-
The article really stresses this.
It's everything.
And it also mentions network effects and growth loops. How do those fit into this PLS picture?
Right. So in PLS, that superior user experience is what fuels the growth. Network effects kick in when the platform gets more valuable to each user as more people join and participate.
Okay, like a social media site.
Exactly. Or think about a user review site. The more reviews get posted, the more helpful it is for people making decisions, right?
Makes sense.
Which then attracts more users to read and contribute reviews. That's the growth loop. A better experience attracts more users, which then improves the experience again. It's a cycle.
And that leads directly to user-generated content, UGC. The article points out PLS often favors UGC. Why is that?
Well, user-generated content is just a really powerful engine for scaling a PLS strategy. It lets the platform expand its content, its breadth and depth, organically, often at a massive scale.
Right, without the platform having to create everything itself.
Precisely. Plus, who better to create content that clicks with other users than the users themselves?
Good point.
This constant flow of relevant stuff significantly boosts search visibility and keeps the platform feeling, dynamic and engaging.
That makes perfect sense. Now, the article uses YouTube as a really clear example of product-led SEO in action. Can you walk us through why YouTube fits so well?
Oh, YouTube is a brilliant illustration. Just think about it. Every single day, millions, probably billions of searches happen right on YouTube.
Huge numbers.
So YouTube aggregates this enormous amount of video content that's the supply side sorted.
Uh-huh.
And when you search, you get a whole range of relevant videos. That's the demand being met right there in one place.
Centralized.
Exactly. Plus, YouTube is constantly tweaking its user experience. Those recommendation algorithms, the interface, it's always improving.
Yeah, you notice that.
And then there's that growth loop. More viewers attract advertisers, which pulls in more creators wanting to make better content, which brings in more viewers. See?
Yeah, that cycle again.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so in product-led SEO, the website is the product. Got it. Now let's pivot. What about the other approach? Marketing-led SEO or MLS?
Right. Marketing-led SEO. Dan Martin also calls it integrator SEO, content-led, or editorial SEO. This one starts with a strong foundational product or service already in place.
Okay, so there's something else being sold, fundamentally.
Yes. The crucial difference is that MLS strategically uses content to build this whole experience around that core offering.
Ah.
The main goal here is really about building a direct, meaningful relationship with users by giving them valuable content consistently.
And what kind of activities does that usually involve? The article mentioned blogs, keyword research.
Exactly right. MLS relies heavily on creating and distributing content that directly answers user needs, stuff that aligns with their search queries.
So solving their problems with content.
Precisely. And it goes beyond just blog posts, could be videos, infographics, downloadable guides, even interactive tools sometimes.
Right, tools and calculators, yeah.
And yeah, deep keyword research is vital to understand what users are actually searching for at different stages. You know, when they're just learning, when they're comparing, when they're ready to buy.
So it's about capturing their interest early and kind of nurturing that relationship.
That's the idea. Nurture it through valuable content, guiding them towards the product eventually.
The article also makes a really interesting point that effective MLS works across the entire user journey, before, during, and even after they become a customer. Why is that whole life cycle view important?
Oh, it's crucial. Before someone's even aware of the product, MLS tries to attract them with helpful content about their challenges or interests.
Top of the funnel stuff.
Yeah. Then, during the evaluation phase, content can educate them, build trust, and after they buy. Content keeps them engaged, helps them use the product better, encourages loyalty.
So it's really about building a lasting relationship, not just making a sale.
Absolutely. Consistent value exchange.
So contrasting again, PLS aggregates or relies on users for content on its platform, while MLS is all about creating strong, often original content to pull users in and engage them deeply.
Spot on. And the article emphasizes this content for MLS needs to be genuinely differentiating. It has to stand out.
Yeah, because there's so much content out there already.
Yeah, exactly. In today's, well, saturated online world, MLS needs content that really breaks through. Unique perspectives, deep analysis, or just exceptional practical value. It's about being seen as a thought leader, a trusted resource.
And here's a really key takeaway I noted from the article. In MLS, the content itself is kind of the SEO product,
Yes.
whereas in PLS, the website is the SEO product. That's a
Yeah.
really useful distinction.
It really clarifies things, doesn't it?
Yeah. And for MLS, the website often acts more like a central marketing hub, right?
Yeah.
Focused on building an audience, creating content, distributing it.
Precisely. The website's job in MLS is primarily to showcase and distribute that great content, aiming to drive qualified users towards the actual core product or service.
Okay, now for a prime example of marketing-led SEO
Yeah.
done really well, the article points to HubSpot. Why are they such a good case study?
Oh, HubSpot is classic MLS success. They've built an absolutely massive library of free, incredibly valuable content
Their blog is everywhere.
everywhere. Blogs on marketing, sales, customer service, plus videos, templates, tools, calculators, you name it.
Yeah.
By making all this easily accessible, their goal is to basically become the authority in their space.
Right, the go-to resource.
The underlying strategy is pretty clear. When you face a challenge in marketing or sales, you find helpful stuff from HubSpot, you start trusting them,
Uh-huh.
and then when you eventually need a paid platform, who are you going to think of first?
HubSpot. Makes total sense.
It's very effective.
Okay, so we've laid out these two core approaches, seeing them in action with YouTube and HubSpot.
Yeah.
Now let's maybe drill down on some specific features the article highlights for each, using those examples again.
Sure.
For product-led SEO, we see things like aggregating data found across the internet.
Right, like Google itself or Zillow pulling property data, Airbnb listing places.
Okay, and strong network effects.
Think Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. The more friends you have on there, the more valuable it is to you.
Gotcha. And that emphasis on extraordinary user experience.
Netflix, Spotify, they live and die by how easy and enjoyable it is to just consume their content.
Right, totally seamless. And what about the other PLS features, like those feedback loops where more users improve the experience and using UGC?
Okay, feedback loops, think Amazon. The more people buy and review, the better the recommendations get. Or Uber, more drivers and riders mean quicker pickups. SurveyMonkey, more surveys mean richer data.
Ah, okay, I see that pattern. And leveraging user-generated content.
Well, G2 for software reviews is built on it. YouTube, obviously, with creator videos. Substack with writers. Their core value is the content their users create.
Okay, that paints a really clear picture of PLS in action. Now, flipping back to marketing-led SEO, what defining features does the article highlight there?
For MLS, it's features like a really strong focus on the audience, consistent, high-quality content creation.
Like HubSpot and NerdWallet, maybe? With their blogs and tools?
Exactly, and often developing those free tools or calculators. Also, a strategic focus on creating specific website pages, landing pages, blogs, content hubs. Publishers like Dotdash Meredith are masters of that.
Building out the site structure strategically.
Yeah, and finally, just that relentless creation of unique, really search-optimized content. HubSpot again, or think about online courses like Masterclass. The content is the draw.
This breakdown really highlights how different these strategies feel at their core. Okay, so the big question, the so what? If you're hiring an SEO person or deciding on your company's strategy, the article mentions neither is inherently better.
That's absolutely right. It's not about better or worse. The best choice between PLS and MLS totally depends on the specific company, its product, its goals. There's no single right answer.
But the article does offer some guidance for hiring, linking the strategies to the kind of skills you might look for. Can you unpack that a bit?
Sure. So if your company is building a platform that really relies on network effects or needs a lot of user-generated content or aggregates big data sets,
Like the PLS examples we talked about.
right, then you'd likely want to find someone with deep experience in product-led SEO. Their expertise is in optimizing the platform itself to grow that user base.
Okay. And the flip side.
Conversely, if the main goal is to drive content efforts strategically, really understand user intent through how they consume content, and build those stronger direct customer relationships.
More like the HubSpot model.
Exactly. Then you'd look for someone with a strong background in marketing-led SEO. Their focus is creating and distributing content to build those connections.
And it's worth remembering, like the article says, these skills aren't always totally separate, right?
No, definitely not mutually exclusive. A seasoned SEO pro might have skills in both areas, or they might lean heavily one way but still understand the other.
But it helps focus the search.
Yeah. Focusing on the skill set that aligns best with your main SEO strategy is usually the most effective way to hire.
The article wraps up by sort of hinting this is just the start of a bigger discussion. The author plans to explore these strategies more, look at successful companies, and even tackle where SEO should sit within an organization.
Yeah, it feels like this article sets the foundation. It gives you this valuable framework for understanding the big picture approaches to SEO.
Definitely paves the way for deeper dives later on.
Mm-hmm.
So, wrapping this up then, after this deep dive, you should now have a much clearer understanding that SEO isn't just, one simple thing. There are these really distinct philosophies driving it.
The big difference between them.
Yeah. Product-led SEO is all about building that valuable platform, attracting users naturally through aggregated content, and a killer user experience. Think YouTube.
The platform is the magnet.
Right. And then marketing-led SEO uses content as the main engine to build relationships and authority around a strong product, like HubSpot does with its huge content library.
Using content to draw people to the product?
Exactly. Recognizing these differences gives you, the listener, a really powerful lens to understand online strategies better. You can even use it to evaluate how different businesses operate online and try to connect with you.
And maybe this raises an interesting thought for you to chew on. Thinking about these two approaches, PLS and MLS, take a second to consider the websites you use most often.
Yeah, good exercise.
Which strategy do you think is their primary driver? Is it more product-led or marketing-led? And what does that tell you about their core business model and maybe the kind of relationship they're trying to build with you?
That's a great takeaway question. This is really just scratching the surface of the complex world of SEO, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. But hopefully this deep dive has sparked some new ways for you to think about how information actually finds its way to you online every day.